Federal judge has granted former President Trump's request for a special master to review the materials seized from his Florida estate. Now the Justice Department will have to halt its review of those documents, which could slow down the investigation. Senior investigative reporter Aaron Katersky joins me live now, along with ABC's Silreen Shah in Washington and ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer for more on this. Brian, the judge says she's taking this step in part because Trump is a former president and noted a concern about the stigma associated with the seizure. What does she mean by that? Why would that be a legal concern?
So part of it is in getting jurisdiction. Jurisdiction meaning the right to go to a specific court to hear those arguments. And so she's taking this balancing act of the stigma of being indicted or being accused of a crime and saying that that is a higher issue for a former president than it is for the average person in America. To that, I disagree as being a public defender. I think regardless of your station or profession or job, the stigma with coming with being indicted or accused of a crime is all the same. But I think she's trying to do that to narrowly tailor this decision so it doesn't destroy all potential investigations for anyone being accused by the DOJ.
Now, Aaron, the Justice Department has already reviewed these documents. So what happens if they want to use some of this as evidence to bring potential charges? Can they, or do they have to wait? How does that work?
We don't know is, I think, the short answer, Diane, because this has never been done before. Documents have never been reviewed by a special master for executive privilege. For attorney-client privilege, happens all the time, but there's no real criteria set out for what happens if documents are said to be covered by executive privilege. Would they then be off limits to prosecutors, shielded from their use? That we don't know, and in that way, the judge's ruling really is an open question. She has asked both former President Trump's attorneys and the government attorneys to work out the parameters for this special master review, including what happens to the documents that he or she determines are privileged. But this whole ruling does open up a question about the limits of executive privilege. The Justice Department said Trump no longer has that claim of oversight on the documents because he's a former president. But listen to how the judge put it in her ruling. She said, even if an assertion of executive privilege by Trump would be to fail, that does not mean he doesn't have the ability to raise privilege as an initial legal matter.
Now, Silreen, midterm elections are just 2 months away. So what's the political impact of this investigation and now this new development with a special master that will string it out longer?
I think both sides would argue that the political impact actually benefits their side. I mean, you heard Trump during a 2-hour speech over the weekend. He went on and on, but I did not hear him say the word special master once. But he unleashed on Biden. He unleashed on the FBI search. He continued to tease that 2024 run. Our team spoke to Trump supporters on the ground. They think that Trump was unfairly targeted. They think the search will backfire, but the data doesn't broadly support that. The Republicans are trailing in key Pennsylvania races. When you look at the 538 data, you can see that it indicates that Trump may come with some risk for the GOP. The odds of the Democrats keeping the Senate are improving, although the GOP is still favored to win in the House. Although, look, there's still about 60 days left to the midterms, so we'll just have to see how all this unfolds.
Brian, do you think the Justice Department will try to appeal this? What goes into that decision?
So think about it this way. There are different levels to different courts. And right now we're in a Florida district court. It is federal. And so the fear here is if you go higher up an appeal, that you may create more binding precedents at a larger scale. You go up from the Florida district court and you're eventually going to hit the 11th Circuit. So the DOJ is going to look and see, are these the types of judges that may rule in our favor? Also, the Supreme Court justice who's overseeing the 11th Circuit, that's Justice Clarence Thomas. And so there's some kind of forward thinking to say, do we want this to be a district Florida law, or do you want this to be an 11th Circuit or national law that a president, whether it be Barack Obama, Donald Trump, eventually Joe Biden, would have this power to say, hey, I don't want these documents to be reviewed, stop this investigation. That's a bit of a question mark for the DOJ.
Now, Aaron, how long could it take to appoint this special master, and then how long could this person take to go through everything and decide what can be used in prosecution and what can't.
The order does not spell it out, so that's something that the two sides are going to have to work out with the judge. They have until Friday to propose a list of candidates for the job, and we don't know whether they'll be able to reach an agreement. They haven't been able to agree on much so far. They also will have to agree on the parameters for this person's work. How long and what's the scope of their review? Is it unlimited? Is it only certain documents? The Justice Department may well disagree with the former president's attorneys as to how this work should be done. We'll find out on Friday.
We sure will. All right, Aaron Katersky, Zilreen Shah, Brian Buckmeyer, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.